Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back to the show. It is time you learn about the Feinberg method. What's the Feinberg method? Well, we're going to find out more today about it. And we're with the owner, Brad Feinberg himself, to talk more about the work he's doing based out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And of course, he's helping so many with holistic health, healing, fitness, nutrition, you name it, he does it. And welcome back. How are you today?
It's great to be back.
Same here. So for new timers, we're here talking to Brad on Zoom today live as well as on the podcast. Please tell us a little bit about yourself to start.
Yeah, sure. I've been in the health and fitness industry for as long as I can remember. It's been almost 2 decades now. But I really got, I would say, catapulted into it as a young kid being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And I found out very, very early on what can happen when you both don't and do take care of yourself. So that's really kind of what got me thrusted into it. But I work with really people who are very stressed, very busy, and ultimately want to achieve their best self when it comes to health, fitness, mindset. So it's a little bit about me.
Beautiful. And you're based out of Nevada, Las Vegas specifically, but I know you have a lot going on there, but you also do virtual work too. Could you share that?
Absolutely. I would say that's probably 95% of what I do is working with
Okay.
people really all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that got started a couple years back, but I really rebranded, almost a year and a half ago now into the Feinberg method. And it's really, really taken off since then. So, but yeah, I do a little bit of in person in the city.
Okay.
Well, actually, I have a
Yep.
garage gym that I'm very, proud about because it's pretty epic. But a couple clients out of there. But yeah, mostly people all over the world.
Beautiful. Well, we are excited to have you here to talk more about this Feinberg method, but it's always good to find out you as a person first. Let's get your background, your education, your inspiration, and why that you're here doing this with so many. I know we all have a story and a journey which leads us down a path. So what was yours, Brad?
Yeah, well, like I just shared, what really started for me was being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes
Mm-hmm.
and being that young. Obviously, when you go to the hospital and you feel like there's something wrong, I going into that hospital, I was diagnosed, I think my blood sugar was like 800. And I remember, you don't remember much, but I do remember the doctors coming in and
Uh,
telling me what I could and could not do. And it wasn't around like, here's how you can get better. It was just, here's your insulin, check your blood sugar, and that's it. And I understand, looking back, I understand that was obviously their job in doing it, but there was
yeah.
like no direction. And my mom knew that was wrong. I knew that was wrong. So fortunately, we got connected with a diabetic educator, Gary Shiner, who I literally thank to this day. He showed me the ways that it was more than just insulin. It was
Mm-hmm.
how you eat your food, how, the types of foods that you're eating, how you
Yep.
exercise. Like it was more than just this medication that you have to take, which unfortunately is the big, kind of thing these days. It's like, here's your next pill or here's your next shot, whatever it is. But going through high school up until college, like I said, I really discovered the power of food, the power
Mm-hmm.
of taking care of your body. And I got addicted to it. I got addicted because that, as a kid, you know, there's pressure enough with just trying to make
Yeah.
friends. And then now I had this thing that was wrong with me.
Mm,
Looking back, this obviously wasn't
I
the
know.
case, but that was my mindset at the time.
Yep.
And I developed this mindset around the only time I felt good or better or alive was working out.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I got addicted to it. And fast forwarding through going to college, that's when I really fell in love with the health and pushing my body to the limit. And that's when I was like, I really want to provide this feeling to people because I knew that people were facing challenges inside of that, whether it was autoimmune or trying to build muscle or burn fat. I wanted to give them that opportunity to have them get the body and health that they always wanted. So that's when I graduated my degree in exercise science, minor in nutrition. And that's when it really kind of started working with some amazing people, whether it was fire department, police
Mm-hmm.
department, or just someone who wanted to push their body to the limit. And then my girlfriend at the time, we decided to move to Las
Oh.
Vegas. And that's when it really started to open up, starting to work with some, like I said, now people who are dealing with crazy amount of stress, traveling all the time, celebrities, entertainers. And that's when it really kind of took off. But that's when I met Dan Reynolds from Imagine Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me the opportunity to work with him and the band around the world. And that's when I saw that it was more than just eating right and exercise. And what I mean by that is when you're traveling, you're hopping in and out of hotel beds, the bus, eating at different restaurants just to get by, your body starts to take a toll. And when we look at factors inside the body that sometimes we don't realize are operating, such as hormones, blood sugar, insulin, testosterone, estrogen, growth hormone, like all these things play such an important role in how we look and how we feel. And when we have these stressors, whether it's travel, whether it's family, whether it's personal, mental, emotional, or the doctor tells you that something's wrong with you, we start to have these changes in the body that we're not always aware of. And that's when I started to really face, mental health issues and inflammatory issues and gut issues with myself, with traveling. And at the time, when you're traveling a lot, you find out how strong your relationship is. And so my wife at the time, we ended up going through a divorce just because of everything that was going on. And we just weren't meant to be. But my mental health took such I hit my rock bottom. And with me practicing good health, practicing exercise, it just wasn't enough because this wasn't where it had to be. So, really making the decision that I needed to be better. And that's where I would say, as of like a couple of years ago, is when this method, the Feinberg method, really developed, where it's more than just eating right. It's more than just exercise. It has to be, the hormones, the data that we have to get inside of the body to see what's going on. Our mental health has to be optimal to achieve those optimal results. And to tie it all together is recovery, making sure we're sleeping right, the supplementation together so our hormones are in balance. And that is what has really kind of taken me to where I am today now, and providing this method to really everyone who wants to achieve their best self.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. By the way, the girlfriend that
Absolutely.
became the wife.
It's well, yeah. So the now girlfriend. So once I absolutely went through my divorce, I met my now she's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
I
My
know you
now
talked
wife.
about that her last time, so
Yeah,
I just want to give her a
yeah,
shout out. What's her name?
absolutely. Corey Honeycutt. Corey
Oh, hello.
Feinberg.
Hi,
She
beautiful.
she's yeah, she's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. So thankfully to her, she was really, but that's like I say that because a lot of times we go through this journey alone,
Yeah,
and feeling alone or not having that support is a well, having that support is such an integral part into getting what you want, whether it is health, finance, business, whatever it is. So yeah, she's my never ending support system.
beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that. And also, Brad, do you want to talk specifically about some of the clients, some of the work you're doing, how it works to work with you? I mean, there's still so much to what you offer.
Absolutely. Well, how it really looks like to work with me is we've got to first start with looking on what's inside. So whether that's getting specific assessments done, tests, or working with your primary care or even endocrinologist to get blood work assessments done to find out How is our hypothalamus looking? How is our adrenals and cortisol looking? What about our
Mhm.
liver? Things like that play such an important role in our metabolism,
Yeah.
in our immune system and our energy. And then once we get that data, then we start to really look at what do you really want? So my first session with someone is we look at what is your ultimate goal?
Mhm.
Not just 6 months down the road, but years down the road. Like, how do you want to look like? What do you want to feel like? Whether that's burning body fat, building muscle, doesn't matter. But then we create the right steps working back. So if it is 2 years down the line, what does a year down the line look like? What does 6 months down the look like? Where do you need to be 3 months from now to keep you on track to where you need to be? But then not just looking at that, we really look at how do we maximize your feel good hormones. So that is really creating your most optimal morning routine, what you're doing throughout the day, and your bedtime routine. And then once we get that established, then we really look at the programming designed for you inside of gut health and nutrition and blood sugar, custom workouts designed for you inside of an app that I use that's outlined every single day. So you know exactly what you need to do, how to do it, and so on and so forth. And then the recovery session, really looking at supplementation, things that we can do throughout the day to kind of, have you come back to normal. But ultimately, that's really designed for you to manage the stress because every single human on this planet experiences stress. We have to. That's how we adapt and survive. But how do we do that in the right way? And that's where we get the recovery protocols set up, designed for you off of the data. So that's how it really looks like to work with me. And we do not just group calls every week, but individual calls as well to keep you on track, because I can create you the best program in the world, but it doesn't matter if you aren't executing. And that's what those calls are there to hold you accountable, but not just that, but always looking at the progress we're making, because the greatest demotivator is to not see progress. So it's how do we track that day in and day out so we're always staying on track.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. At this time, let's remind
Absolutely.
everyone how we could reach out to you, Brad.
Yep. So the feinbergmethod.com, right there, you'll see not just people that I've worked with, but an opportunity to fill out an application and schedule a free consultation with me. And then you can also reach out to me on my Instagram, my social media, at Brad Feinberg 88. You can just send me a direct message there. It's me running it. I don't have people running it. So you're literally talking right to me. Ask me a question, set up a time to connect. Those are the best ways to reach out to me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. All right, let's continue the process of the Feinberg method. And by the way, how many years have you been in business for now?
Gosh, I've been doing this for almost 20 years, coming up on 2 decades. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. And you clearly are passionate, love what you do, got great
Yep.
client testimonials there on the website as well. And, people also might say, well, how does it work to work with you? And I got to bring this up. I think last time we talked about this, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you guarantee results, right? This is, guys, we're listening up for this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the reason I did that, because one, I understand, especially when we look at behavior in our culture these days, it's always like we want results now. That doesn't always work with the body, unfortunately. Trust me, I tried
Mm-hmm.
it. I wish it does, but it doesn't. But with how our culture is, it's always like we want the results no matter
Mm-hmm.
what. So I was like, how can I create that? Well, that's how much I believe in this method. So in my programming, especially my 6 month and beyond programming, I say if we don't achieve the results that you are outlined to follow, and yes, there's things that you have to follow to do to qualify it, because if you follow the method, if you do what I tell you to do, and we don't get there, then I work for you for free until we get to those results. So that is that
Mm-hmm.
guarantee. But no one has ever had to take or use that, because that's how effective this method is.
Beautiful. Amazing. Thank you so much for that. And
Yep.
working with your clients, how does it work? The accountability factor, how many times a week are you meeting, and how available are you? I believe you give out your cell phone number, correct? Because you trust your
I
clients.
do. Yeah, no, that's a great question because the accountability and the support is what really takes this to the next level. I I really, there's a small percentage of people out there that when they get the program, they can just execute and they'll get
Mm-hmm.
results. I That's great for them. That's for me. I need help and support in what I'm doing. So it's the really what I give is a weekly coaching call, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is, just how we're connecting right now, face to face via Zoom, virtually. And that's where we talk about the challenges that you're facing, but also, again, the progress that you're making. And we set up every week the focus and objective to keep you on track. I also do group coaching calls inside of that where everyone comes together, where we talk about things that aren't so specific to you, but are
Mm-hmm.
extremely important, like how to get through the holidays.
Yeah.
So tactics to go about it the right way, because we are human, we like to enjoy life, but how do you do it in a way without
Uh-huh.
sabotaging your body, your health and fitness? And then yes, you do get my phone number, and I really am available 24/7. Yes, I sleep, but there are times where if I am up, I get up at 3, 4 in the morning, and some
Mm-hmm.
people are on other parts of the world or across the country. If you have something that comes up, you send me a message, I will respond. That
Wow.
is how available I am to my clients, because the body and changing your body can be very vulnerable and confusing. And I want to be that support system for you and take away that confusion so you can get what you want inside of this.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And
Yep.
Brad, could you share some, client experiences with us? Always good to hear the people you're working with, what's happening. And I mean, it's just fascinating. Look, I miss working at the gym. I think I told you this last time. I have a 6 and 8 year old. Haven't worked out in so many years. And it's just, I don't feel as good. There's something about fitness and it gives you not only physical health, but it does something mentally to us and puts us in an amazing mindset. And I know positive mindset is something that you focus on as well.
Absolutely. So some of the people that I've worked with specifically looking at that, one was Drake Livingston, who he actually is a big time coming out of social media. He's a music artist, and he was, unfortunately in a body that he was heavier than he's always wanted to, that he never really wanted to be. And I would say that's,
Yeah.
people who are overweight and obese do not want to be in that type of body. So, not just setting up the gut health, but what really helped him was keeping his mind on track to
Mm-hmm.
handle the tour life, the grueling music industry. In my opinion, music industry and entertainment is one of the most brutal industries out there, because you're not just having to like perform at a high level, but you have thousands and thousands and thousands of
Yeah.
people wanting to be entertained and wanting to be with you every step of the way. And that can be extremely brutal, not just on the body, but on the mind. So we used exercise and nutrition to, yes, fuel his mindset in the right way, but then also focusing on the right objectives week in and week out to keep him on track while he was while he was on tour for the couple months that he did, to have him feel at his best day in and day out so he can put on his best performance every
Mm-hmm.
single time. So that is, that I have worked with a good number of musicians. Benson Boone, coming out of American Idol, we did the same kind of concept with him when he was on tour. Worked with Dan Reynolds for years, traveling with him both on tour and off of tour, making sure that he was always at his best. So I do get the travel life. And that's why when people tell me, oh, I travel a lot, I'm like, that's not an excuse. You can't use that anymore. I've seen the worst of it. So, but just because you're not a musician doesn't mean you don't have a similar stressful environment that takes a toll on our mindset. So, how we set up the right protocol in doing that, whether you're traveling for work, for pleasure, whatever it is, our health and fitness fuels all of that. So,
And all the benefits that go along with it.
Yep.
Look, I know it's the holidays. A lot of us are overeating. Unfortunately, some bad habits, a lot of parties and stress. What do you say to someone, one of your clients said, hey, it is the holidays. We have Christmas parties. We have New Year's Eve parties. How do you help someone
That's a
not
great question.
overindulge? What about
Yep.
underindulge? Or do you
Yep.
say take a break?
Great question. So the first thing I'll say is that when I am working with someone one-on-one, their barriers and how they handle it are always a little bit different or case by case. So that I'll say first. But as a general rule of thumb, number one, it's a choice. The holidays, and actually, if we look at it on the actual calendar, they're only a couple days this month. So we can't use the excuse that I'm going to party every single day throughout the entire month, which we get into that kind of perspective where we give ourselves a break or we give ourselves an excuse to overindulge or overdrink or party too hard, whatever it is. So number one, you don't lose control. It's always a choice. You
Mm-hmm.
decide to overindulge. Now, there is the aspect of
Yep.
wanting to enjoy it. So how do we do that? So if
Mm-hmm.
we are going out to eat or we are going out to party, whatever it is, if we want to survive that as best as possible, what I always recommend is maybe earlier in the day, we undereat a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we look at a lot of these foods or drinks that are highly inflammatory, they also have a higher calorie count as well, most of the times. So if we undereat earlier in the day, that could leave us with a bigger window later in the day to maybe eat a little bit inflammatory or fatty or sugary foods that are higher in calorie. And
Mm-hmm.
then if we are drinking and doing that, drink more water with more electrolytes to really help maintain that, hydration through that period so we can handle the inflammation a little bit better. And then the next day, we do our best to get right back on track. Maybe do a little bit more of low intensity cardio to handle that inflammation that we built
Mm-hmm.
up the night before and focus on more fruits and veggies and good quality proteins to handle
Yeah.
that as well. So it's a balancing act through this, celebratory times so we can still enjoy it, but not sacrifice it at the same time. And that would be my best recommendation.
Thank you for that. All right. We still got 5 minutes left on the clock. Brad Feinberg, the Feinberg method. We want to get involved. Now, also, don't forget, New Year's is here. New Year's resolutions. Do you believe in that? I mean, hey, it's coming up. It's a good time to get started. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, and it's a great gift. The
Yeah.
gift of your
So
health. Yes.
absolutely. I always see people, especially, I mean, January, February, March, always the best time of the year for me because people are always like, I want to be, a better self with health and fitness. But what I notice is that people always tend to fall off. And that's why I do like using New Year's resolutions to always improve ourselves, but not an excuse to just do health and fitness for a period of time. Health and fitness should be something that we're practicing
Mm-hmm.
literally right up until the day we die. So
Mm-hmm.
use the new year to focus on new goals, to elevate ourselves and continually build our foundation, not just a time to make an excuse to get into health and fitness for 3 months and then
Yeah.
fall off at the end of it.
And people
So,
always bail. I know we bail. Oh,
yep.
don't say we like, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it's behaviors that we've had that kind of control us. And if we truly, truly want to change, we have to start with changing the mindset on how we view ourselves and how we view our health and fitness, because we can't use genetics or our family as an excuse anymore. Yes, genetics are a thing, but we can use that to empower us and not use it as an excuse. So once we change the mindset, we then have to change the behaviors. And that
Got
is
it.
how we truly change inside of us. And that's really what I tackle with all my clients.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much.
Yep.
Brad Feinberg, tell us all the ways we can reach out to you because I know there's many. You don't have to give out the
Absolutely.
cell
So,
phone on air, but the website, the
yeah,
social pages.
yeah, but best way to schedule a free consultation with me is go to thefeinbergmethod.com, where you can fill out the application and schedule a date and time there, or reach out to me on Instagram at Brad Feinberg 88, and that'll be me.
Perfect. Thanks so much. How did you want to leave off
Absolutely.
today? Anything else you want to add for your show? Any words of inspiration and wisdom for us?
Yeah, of course. I would really say, in my many years of doing this, what I've seen is the body is truly, in my opinion, the most amazing thing. And what I mean by that is you can absolutely get what you want in life, whether that's finances, health, fitness, body, career, it doesn't matter. But what you have to start with is truly believing in yourself and use the discipline to get you there. When you start to get scared, you know you're on the right path. So lean into it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much again. Have a fantastic day. Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you too.
Happy New Year. And happy holidays
Yes.
to everyone listening and watching. Okay. Thanks again, Brad. Hopefully we'll connect soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank
Thanks
you.
so much. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.